Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and one of my favorite things to do on this channel is playing around with computers and viruses and making computers blow up and destroy. Now ladies and gentlemen, something that I always have a fascination with is virtual machines. As you all know, when it comes to me and using anything on my system, I use VMs all the time. And from time to time, you have to spring clean, okay? You basically restart from scratch, roll back, clean up your computer from time to time. Now, normally I could just right click and delete one of these, but I feel it's always imperative and better on my channel to basically take these things out to the digital sunset, run some malware on them, show you exactly how to destroy a system from the inside out. And I'm not talking about deleting System 32. I'm talking about running all forms of payloads that causes Windows, specifically in this case, to shutter down and die. So a while back I made videos where I ran things like the MEMS virus. This will have to be like a couple years ago at this point. And running those kind of viruses basically made it so that, it would launch crazy visual effects on your systems, but in some cases, a lot of those viruses were made for, meme purposes. They were made to basically, blow your system up, but you could effectively recover things. Today, I'm running viruses that are actually designed to destroy systems. So for instance, one of the malwares in this case is Sigma. Use this wisely. This malware can destroy your system. Use a secure environment when running, like a virtual machine. I am not responsible for any damage made to your host system with this malware. Now obviously for YouTube's terms of services, I don't really link any of these malwares just because I don't really want to be breaking, I think there is a rule for spreading malware on YouTube. All I can really do is show you. I can't really exactly show you how to obtain this stuff, nor would I really want to. I think for a lot of people who just want to play around with this, I want you to understand this can, in fact, harm and destroy your computer. So run these things with absolute care. Me, on the other hand, I really don't care, so I'm going to run these things under a virtual machine that I'm prepped to destroy. So here I've got a virtual machine with good old-fashioned things playing around. I've got a lot of ROMs, and obviously I want to conceal some of this evidence from the Nintendo lawyers and ninjas. So what I'm going to do is launch our good friend BonziBuddy right over here. Now I didn't know this, but somebody on itch.io actually made like an updated version of BonziBuddy. I don't know if it's like a game or something, but if you wanted to have a digital pet on your system, you actually can in the year 2024. And here we've got BonziBuddy. So compared to the last time we had him on the channel where I ran him under like Windows XP, this is like a version of him that will perpetually exist on my system, ready to annoy us. So first things first, when it comes to any form of malware, okay, thank you, BonziBuddy, Jesus Christ. When it comes to any form of malware stuff, what you want to do is you want to make sure you go to your virus and threat protection on Windows, and you want to turn that all the way off, okay? If you don't turn this off, Windows is going to protect you, actually, and get rid of Sigma. Windows is going to actually prevent you from running some of these software.
Before you go to the dentist, because he lost his filling.
That even your actual web browser has to jump in and tell you, please stop downloading this software. So obviously we're going to keep this stuff. And again, this shows you that running malware isn't exactly the easiest thing in the year 2024, because there's a lot of actual stopgaps that you have that prevent you from launching some of this stuff. So for instance, right here at Sigma, one thing you'll notice, anytime a software has a little shield next to it, that means it wants admin privileges. You should never be giving any software admin privileges unless you absolutely have to. You're installing a driver, maybe you have to give it there. Are you running a game that you downloaded from an unsavory website? Absolutely don't do it. Don't be downloading games unsavory either. So, oh yeah, malicious file. This application may cause damage to your device. Sensitive personal data may also be at risk. I don't really give a shit. Let's actually run this and see how bad things really get. Obviously, I'm going to turn down the audio a little bit, just because I don't know if this contains loud noises. But if anything kills BonziBuddy, I'm excited. You're about to run a malware. Use this malware wisely. This will cause data loss and make your computer likely unbootable. If you don't know what this program do, just click no to keep your computer safe. By clicking yes, the malware will start and you'll understand the risk. If you want to try this, use a virtual machine. Absolutely want to be using it. Christ, let's go. So hit yes. Final warning. Yeah, of course. This is the nicest malware in existence. Usually the Russian shit you download, you see a little bit of you see a command prompt, and next thing you know, your data is all gone.
It's a mother-in-law whose visit never ends.
Ooh, it's shaking up. So you can see right now, everything's getting all blurry in the background. There's like a weird audio cue playing. BonziBuddy is actually legit dying. And I guess if you try moving things around, it's not going to function very well. And, oh, BonziBuddy's still spinning stuff. Oh, okay, all right, we've got red screens. This, I swear to God, if you ran on somebody's system, they would actually freak out. This is the kind of hack you would see in like a Hollywood movie almost. So let's try to clear up the red here a little bit. All right, things seem to be pretty fine. We can't open up the task manager. Things are grayed out. Interesting. Interesting indeed. All right, let's try opening up the file browser here. Oh, God damn! It's turning into a fucking nightmare right now. Okay, things are giving me scan lines. I'm actually surprised how long BonziBuddy still continues to live. That's impressive. Now, when it comes to destructive malwares like this, a lot of these actually exist that, require administrative privileges to be highly destructive. So one of them is this MostQ Epic, which, again, if you download this will actually very much destroy the system that it's on. So Sigma, thankfully, didn't decide to kill everything yet. But of course, as you can see, every single one of these, like, computer malwares that exist has a lot of protections to basically make sure that you're as safe as you can be. And you really have to try to get infected. So here we'll launch this one right here. Now, of course, we're going to run this thing as a full-on system administrator, and we're going to give this a destructive version right here. How many GDIs will run at the same time? Just hit yes to it. This will overwrite the MBR and move the cursor in active Windows. Now, what the MBR is the master boot record, meaning that once we run this, okay, the system will not function, all right? It's probably going to corrupt a whole bunch of system stuff anyways. You could theoretically reinstall the bootloader, but there's not going to be much gained out of it. Oh, goddamn. We got crazy anime and everything right here. Somehow I just think what I'm seeing here is not supposed to be okay visually. Like, look at this stuff. It's absolutely sending some crazy shit in the frame buffer. It is destroying everything possible in this Windows install. And of course you can see that you saw some deletion right there. It's opening up pages, moving things around, checking the elements. Bro. You just see ghosts in hell floating around. God damn. I don't think there's any way you can save it. It's just like hitting random keys, corrupting stuff, moving anime around the screen. Now, obviously, I'm going to reset this and just show you how bad things are really going to get. Let's go to power and, like, reset the guest here. Dude. It's actually it just keeps playing different, like, audio tracks here. Like, you can see how it just opens up in the corner, like it messes up the entire, like, frame buffer. All right, constantly keeps changing color values in and around these objects. You can see, like, how languages are changed on the screen. Like, that's Japanese, that's English. And again, like, I don't even know when this is supposed to end. Like, I have no idea when this is supposed to be gone. You can't open anything. Like, look at this. It's just data moshing into itself. Jesus. All right, let's go to power, reset the guest here real quick, because I actually want to see how things can get. Now, this is setting a system reboot with, again, I want to actually do like a full, like, I want to do like a force restart. So give me oh, wait. Oh, yes, I got the blue screen. Critical process and died. The whole thing is dead. Now, I think it's just going to do a little quick memory collection, maybe a little data dump. Let's fire it up, see how bad things have really gotten. So as you can see, Windows Boot Manager, no media. It's relying on like network EFI. Everything is gone. The whole data is, the whole like virtual hard drive, anything to do with the EFI partition, it's all just gone. Everything is deleted, okay? Like it's just over at this point. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you kill a virtual machine on your system in style. Now, obviously, if you wanted to recover data, I don't believe this might have actually harmed anything. If you can mount the original, like, virtual machine data or even the hard drive physically, you should be able to pull your data back. So to show you how bad things can really get, underneath this, like, virtual machine that I made, this other, like, Linux one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the actual, like, the Windows directory that I had, the Windows virtual machine, and I'm actually going to mount the disk drive of that virtual machine, just so we can actually start to look through what has effectively kind of happened. So we're going to basically mount that underneath this separate operating system and just kind of see if we can poke around the structure and see just what broke and what didn't break because of that destructive malware we just ran. Now, unfortunately, in this situation, it really seems like whatever virus that I ran, and I actually ran the Sigma, and I ran that one Anime 1 virus, the MoQ, I believe. And there was a couple other things that also did run on that system. And mounting that drive onto a different operating system, you can see that I got a 54 gigabyte hard drive. And unfortunately, it's registering as just complete free space. Meaning that whatever has been done to it has corrupted it actually beyond belief. And I'm not going to look too deeper into it. I did mount this underneath another Windows installation and got absolutely nothing out of it. So in this situation, if you actually had some really important files that were supposed to be stored here, on what appears to be this surface level, it's gone. Now obviously you can use deeper ways. You can actually open these things up directly underneath your host operating system and probably try to pick through something. But at this point, I would consider if you had anything of value on this drive, it's probably all gone. Now, one of the things that I think it's worth showing is obviously for a lot of Linux users, you probably might have considered switching over, and you might also be playing video games underneath Linux. Now, a lot of that is done through something known as Proton, but more specifically, Wine, which is a compatibility layer. So I kind of wanted to run some of these viruses and see just how wild it can get underneath the Linux operating system running through a compatibility layer. Now, mind you, do not do this on your host system. Do not do this on anything unless you were absolutely, understanding exactly what it is that you're doing. Now, the surface level, you can't run exe files underneath Linux. It'll ask you, hey, it's for Windows systems or EFI programs. So what you're going to be doing is installing something known as Wine, and underneath Ubuntu, it's actually quite easy. You open up the terminal, you type in sudo apt update, which again, we just do this. Give it a little password. We basically let it update all of its package list, and then we do sudo apt install wine64, and we hit a little yes to that. It'll install Wine, and it'll give us a chance to download some of those actual filthy pieces of malware. So in this situation, what I'm going to do is open up GitHub real quick, and we're just going to download some of the exact pieces of malware that we just used. So once you got Wine up and running, you can see that I basically got a Windows exe functioning, the Steam setup right here. Now what happens if underneath this compatibility layer, do you decide to launch that MEMS virus that I initially wanted that caused absolute pandemonium? So if we fire up the actual run exe inside the prefix, I'm going to go to the downloads folder, go to a clean version of MEMS, which obviously doesn't contain the destructive malware component, and I'm going to launch the exe and kind of show you how things go. So for instance, if you open up random websites, it will say the payload is considered harmful. So you're actually running this, and of course it tends to go over here to the terminal and just break input right here. Now, if you go to the tunnel effect, you can see that it's not actually functioning. If you go to screen glitches, it's not actually functioning. If I do Shift Escape here, it doesn't seem like anything is functioning. It just tries to load up a bunch of different web pages, but because it's underneath, because it's underneath this translation layer, it might be able to succeed in some things, like message boxes seem to be working, like still using this computer. So look, some of the actual payloads are still functioning. Now, what if we ran some of the more destructive stuff underneath Wine? What if we ran the same shit that just killed my system, like sigma.exe? We said, yeah, go ahead, baby, fire that bitch up. And of course, you can see it says failed to overwrite bootloader. So it failed to actually overwrite a bootloader that really did not exist. Oh man, it's actually destroying this fucking system, dude. Let's download more, why not? I love how it keeps opening up pages like buying recreational cannabis, how to buy weed, how to send a virus to my friend, BonziBuddy, free download. So what you're learning over here is Windows malware does have an effect underneath other operating systems to an extent when you're running, things like this, right? Now, obviously, the file system that Windows would operate under, right? Like, let's say you have a game installed, that might actually end up getting corrupted. So for instance, if I go to that mocepic game, why is it I'm not getting Half-Life 3. Let me download this malware, damn it. So we download the same one, it'll be like, yeah, that contains a virus. No, let it happen, let it happen. We need all of this juicy stuff. And of course, if we go back to Lutris right here and just tell it, hey, let's launch that other malware right there too. Documents, or download, sorry, Moke Epic. And of course, it'll actually fire that up. And provided it hasn't like messed up any of these wine registries, which you can always just generate a new prefix, this should just basically not work anymore. Feels like I'm filming a Vine Sauce video at this point. Let's try deadfish.exe. And of course, at this moment in time, it does. Oh wait, deadfish.exe actually did fire up. You can actually see it right there. I just don't know what it's bringing up though. Okay, wait, hold on. Can I see it? No, it opened up a terminal there. And I think at this point, it's pretty much done, okay? We've gotten way too many screens going. Dude, it's made so many windows. It's like literally making it lag. Fired up the whole task manager right here. Jesus. Okay, this, ladies and gentlemen, has now locked up the entire operating system. It's gone, okay? It is well dead and over, okay? We have basically terminated this actual Linux installation. Now, obviously, if I restart the guest, basically I should be powering it off completely. It should actually just fire up and, basically whatever's in that wine prefix should be corrupted. And that pretty much is the extent of everything right here. Now, there were points where, companies like Virtua Girl existed way back in the day. And this is like a 2007 thing where, again, people would, instead of BonziBuddy, be downloading like virtual strippers to their system. And this is a period of time where, again, if you were downloading this kind of stuff, where like apparently at the time, 22 million something downloads that occurred, there were a good chance that somebody would stuff malware into crazy adult stuff like that just to steal credit card information or personal information in any variety. But there was also a massive panic back in the day, and this is way before the 2000s, typically during the 90s, when, of course, news media started to pick up on computer viruses. I want to play a little news clip that actually brings a fucking tear to my eye, based on how stupid it is. Listen to this shit. Listen to the crazy pandemonium right here.
Virus that has owners of IBM personal computers worried it might send their PCs to sickbeds. An electronic virus is information or instructions added on to a legitimate computer software program by hackers. Most commonly, the virus will wipe out instructions or information stored on that computer disk. We're told spreading the virus is easy. It happens when people share their computer programs, oftentimes over telephone lines.
So people who share programs either by illegal pirating or over a computer network will propagate the virus until somebody writes a program that seeks and destroys this virus.
Oh, you hear that? Shouldn't be downloading shit onto the internet. Are you sharing video games? You engaging in that piracy? Well, you might be exposing yourself to data crime. So yeah, this is like not early, but late 80s. And if you actually looked into it, data crime was introduced when an infected file is transferred and executed. Now, obviously, for things like piracy, what that guy said is true to an extent. Like, if you download any form of pirated content on the internet, there is sometimes an expectation if you download it from really unsavory locations, you might actually be exposing yourself to some serious computer malware. And of course, when you actually looked into this exact file right here, this virus, which is 1,480 bytes long, that was a lot back in the day, can infect exe files. It replaces the original message with Datacrime2 virus. Only the first 42 bytes are left unencrypted, and the message is severely encrypted. The bugs in the formatting function have been fixed. This is like just a variant that occurred too, but the original one, the virus replaces the first 3 bytes of the target's program code, with its own code pointing to the virus's body, which appends itself to the end of the file. The original 3 bytes of the program are stored in the virus's body. If an infected file is run after October the 13th, the virus displays the encrypted text, "Data crime virus released." And that's pretty much how it ended up functioning. And of course, this was enough to get on the news at the time. But one of the cool things about, destructive viruses back in the day is that they were a lot more descriptive. Things were a lot more reminiscent of the MEMS virus. For instance, this is LSD.com, a DOS virus that would absolutely take your computer to town. I mean, to see this back on a computer display would blow anybody's mind, okay? An MS-DOS-based virus that wasn't just something on a command line. One of my personal favorite viruses, and one that I absolutely love, is known as Q Casino, where basically the actual person generating the virus makes you play a game, all right? Kind of like Jigsaw, where it's like, I have just destroyed the FAT on your disk, which is the file allocation table. However, I have a copy in RAM. I'm giving you a last chance to restore your precious data. If you reset now, all your data will be gone. So basically, you have 5 credits right over here. All right, you press any key to play, and hopefully, you might win. Okay, so let me just give this a couple tries. All right, okay, haven't won yet. Haven't got the actual jackpot. Okay, let's go one more time. Come on now. Come on. Give me 3 pounds. And there it is. You asshole, you've lost. Say bye to your balls. Now, I've never actually ever won at the casino, and that's just the reality. The house always wins. You shouldn't really be surprised. But then again, sometimes you get like malware that genuinely makes me blown away visually. Like this is marsg.com, and you can see that it looks pretty creative. Like it's a 3D kind of rendering, almost like a Mode 7 rendering of like a world. And yeah, even if your data is lost, at least you get to see what is a pretty cool effect on your DOS system back then. I know now some people may not be excited about this, but in the days of DOS, there were people literally jizzing their pants if they came across stuff like that. Remember those who died for Madrid? This is back in like 1996. And of course, the fire effects in DOSBox is absolutely beautiful. And again, all these viruses are very destructive. They're designed to effectively destroy your system. But I will say, for viruses back then, at least you got to see cool stuff, whether it be Mode 7 visuals, 3D effects, or in this case, a pretty convincing fire effect for DOS-era days. This is absolutely gorgeous. How do they do the Star Wars scroll on DOS? All of this stuff is just impressive, okay? All this stuff, like, from a destructive point of view, yeah, I'd be pissed that I lost all of my information, all my documents or whatever, but goddamn. At least I get this. Nowadays, the most creative a virus will get is like memes, or at least you get like BonziBuddy, or in some cases it'll just be ransomware where all your files are gone, things are encrypted, but you never get cool stuff like this anymore. But ladies and gentlemen, as I've murdered these entire packages, one thing is to understand, obviously with computer viruses, you should be 100% safe and you should be very careful. I've ran some viruses that absolutely destroyed virtual machines I wanted dead anyways. But yeah, this is a pretty fun way for me to do some spring cleaning, to also show you the extent of some really cool pieces of malware that are out there. And also I wanted to show you how some of these Windows viruses also ran underneath Linux, which is, to say, somewhat relatively destructive. But yeah, you shouldn't be running viruses. You should be very careful on how you do this stuff going forward. But yeah, I think for me, virus investigating, and one of the things about that series is that doing it, I always like looking at the visually impressive viruses. Yeah, it's cool to have a system destroyed, but at least be entertaining while you're destroying my livelihood and data. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, never run these on your main system. I hope that goes without saying. And again, be very careful on the Wild West that is the internet. Stay strapped with a good antivirus, if you need that extra strap. But common sense will usually do the trick for you. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it, I am out.